So hello and welcome to a new iVP tutorial, this time a first video in 2022, so welcome all of you. Today we have a few changes that we would like to show you for our iVP planning software. This is something called a feature release. This feature release is mainly focused on new features, not on the content side. The last release I think was a content release, so this time we have a feature release. We have pretty cool things to tell or to talk about. So we have a new hierarchy window. We have a pretty new save file. What you will see when you load large scale machine concepts is pretty fast. So a cool thing for all of you who work with large concepts most of the time. Then we have, as you see here already, a new 3D view with some cool features I will talk about in a minute. We have a new scaling function or new scaling add-ons. We have a few more things in the user interface that have changed, but this is something you will experience by yourself during the time. And then we have a new thing called key tag function. So let's go into it. So let's talk about probably the biggest change that we have in our new software release. This is the 3D view. You've seen it already. This looks pretty different, not only because the walls look a bit different and the floor looks different, also the 3D view itself looks different. There is a thing that you realized already, probably this top thing here at the top right. This is called a gizmo. The gizmo is not the gizmo from Gremlin's Gizmo. This is a 3D world gizmo that we use to navigate. So we have two main modes that you can switch on. By the way, you can switch the full screen on with these full screen buttons, but as you're all profis, you probably know that already. So we have this ISO mode and we have a perspective mode. So what happens when we change these two modes, that we have a perspective camera which has distortions on the left and on the right and a different field of view opening, while the ISO mode is a orthogonal without any distortion rendered camera. This makes it pretty cool when you want to work accurately in the 3D view. Our target is by the next weeks and months to release or to delete the 2D view itself, this here from the top, but don't be scared, we will not delete the 2D planning itself. What we will do is we will integrate the 2D and the 3D view in one same environment. This makes it a lot more comfortable for you work with larger, with smaller devices, with smaller screens, and we also save a lot of performance for that. So let me just switch off the PDF. So what happens in this ISO view or in this mode, what you can do here, as I said, you switch the perspective, and when you select a machine, for example this one, by pushing the button F as you know it, you get focused on this machine as you know it. When you use the scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out of the machine focus itself. If we select, let's go for this Sortec machine, if you press Control and place the machine here, this also works as you know it already. So what happens if we go to this machine and we decide, okay, we don't want to have the top view of the machine, we want to have the side view of the machine, or we want to have, let's say, the back side of the machine. This can be easily achieved by just using these fly around buttons here of the gizmo. This brings you to the near field plane of the machine itself that you can work with. For me in personal, it makes a lot of sense when we talk about, okay, now I need to switch it on again, the PDF. This makes a lot of sense when we talk about planning accurately in the top-down view for these adjustments. For example, bringing conveyor belts together or whatever. This makes it extremely mighty in my opinion. So when we do these, for example, conveyor belts alignments, and we push the middle mouse wheel button, you can just, scrub through the 3D view. If you have a point where you think like, I need to go to the perspective or I need to change the camera angle, there is no need to switch from the ISO view. You can just push the Alt button on your keyboard and the left button of your mouse, and then you can navigate through here. So pretty easy. If you then want to go up, just push the Alt, the middle mouse wheel button again, and then you can navigate around here. This is pretty cool. Yeah. If you then use still the Alt button clicked and the right mouse button, you can just zoom in and out. to the focus or to the middle point of the screen itself. Just play around with it. It needs a bit of, how to say, of training, but yeah, if you worked with it once, you will not want to miss it anymore. This is my opinion of this function. There are some things what are currently not integrated. This is the path usability. It will be integrated in the future, that we can do also not the machines only, but also the path functions for the fence and the drawings and all the things that you created. It's a work in progress, but currently this is only available for machines, as you see here. All right, so if we want to go back to the perspective view, if we by the way, if we want to select a new machine, just select it by F, go there, and then you want to go to the top view, just use one of these handles and you get to this point. Just depends, it can be a bit messy, of course, when you have different machines in front of it, but then you just need to hide the machine which is in front of that, and then you can work on. What happened to me right now is a thing that you will also experience. Why did this happen? Because I did not select the machine. We removed the button reset camera position to simply F. That means if you have no machine selected and you push the button F, you get to an overall machine or layout view again. So if you have a selected item, press F, you get to it. If you deselect it, push F or press F, then you get to an overview again. All right. The perspective mode, you can change it, as I said, from ISO to perspective by pushing the text or this cube here, but this is no rocket science. You can do that by yourself. The lock that we have here is simply that you cannot rotate the view anymore. So you are stuck to this, how to say, camera angle. If you use it, you will get screwed around in the world. This is currently, yeah, this is an issue that we are aware of, but it's not changeable. If you deselect or unlock the lock itself and push the button F, you will get back, or as I said, just push the button F. But it's important, before you navigate around, just release the lock, otherwise you will get flown away. So that's more or less for the gizmos that we have here to work with. Another thing that we have here is this hierarchy window on the left side. It looks a bit different. Yes, we have some more icons or some new icons and stuff like that, but we have a new function called machine groups. So for all of you who have been working with iVP in the past already, that you have these user group or these, how to say, these folders where you can select items by pushing the Alt button. You have all machines or items selected in this folder, and if you want to just add one item to this folder, just drag and drop around. So what we thought that it will make sense, and this is the first step of the integration, what we have been doing currently, is that you have machine cell concept. So not only a single conveyor belt or whatever, like you have it here. So we have groups, machine groups, that we want to move, transport, export and import in the future. What is currently available, that you have these functions or these groups attached to a machine. So that works like when we take this edge tag machine, for example. I will just ungroup it again for a second. You have this edge tag machine itself. This is a single machine. Currently there is attached a loop tag and a conveyor belt to the machine. This does not make sense really. So we just drag it back here and use or select the additional items that we want to have in this group, like the second conveyor, a second loop tag, and a second Riemenförder. I don't know the English word for that currently. So we have them here selected on the right side in the machines window, in the hierarchy window, and we just drag and drop them around, or drag and drop them in the edge tag machine folder. That means from now on they are connected to each other. There is no need to push the Alt button like in the folders. You only need to select the top view or the top machine, and all the the childs. This is a parent-child structure what we are using. The parent handles all of the childs which are inside this group. It works for height, it works for lock, it works for colorize and all that stuff. You can drag and drop everything around in this structure. So that is an add-on. As I said, it will be more mighty in the future, especially when we support exporting these specific cell concepts. Then you can share it also internally, and so on and so on and so on. So that's for the new hierarchy window itself. Another thing that I would like to show you is a bit tricky. Who has been in a training with me or with one of my colleagues heard it already that I tell you, please use these 3D scale by your own risk. Why? With this 3D scale, you can do pretty wild things and things can screw up, yeah, very fast. And this is not cool. So what happens here, that we have an issue now with the forklift, and this forklift has dimensions which is obviously wrong. So you have on the right side, you have a new scale function. This scale function sets back the dimensions of the forklift by default. So that's point number one. So everything that you adjust here is related to the scale of the machine. This means if you just type in 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, the forklift is half the scale of it, and you have a very, very small baby forklift. So this is the entire scale of the machine. If you don't want to change anything by the machines itself, please leave it to 1, 1. This is the default size for all the machines. This function also works for all the machines. But we do have some items where it makes sense, these scale functions. For example, the geometric body. In this geometric body, we have a few things that we can change. We have the width, the length, the height, the figure itself, and so on and so on. Sometimes that you want to rebuild things in a PDF and you have the written dimensions of the object itself, you can type in whatever 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, but you see the scale of the reference object is obviously wrong, so you can adjust it by 0.99, and you can make small adjustments without touching all of them and recalculate them, so it's just the scale of the entire object. You need to be careful with it when you, for example, scale entire machine groups to another factor. That means if you select the group, put in scale 2 and 2 and 2, this is 2 times as big as it should be. So please be aware of that when using this function. You can use it without any issue, the 3D scale function also, for example, for the geometric body itself, by selecting it and then just do this around, and it works pretty well, especially the scalings are now adjusted, but not the real width, length and height. So this is, as I said, just a scale factor adjustment what we do here, and no concrete width, length and height adjustment. Please be aware of that when using it. If you want to reset it, just 1, 1, 1, and it's back to its original dimensions. I use it, for example, at the edge tag machine group concept here for just the edge tag only. Why? Because the machine that we have here in the database is not the right machine that is here built on the layout. So what I did, I selected the edge tag machine only and made an adjustment by, I think, 4% or whatever to suit the dimensions of the machine. All right, another thing that we have here is the key tag function. Within this key tag function, it's pretty mighty, because not only we redesigned or rearranged the entire structure, it's more easy now, or more convenient to find some things. And what many of you experienced already is that when you search, for example, for a edge tag machine, you find all these edge tag machines, but what is now that you get these additional machines, because the function earlier worked with typing in this will search all machines with this one in their name itself. But if you, for example, search now for a technology for edge sending, you will get a recommendation of edge sending or hedgehog or whatever. And if you select it, you get to this specific item or items, it depends who has these key tags assigned to it. These key tags are available on demand on your key users. Please ask them, or in the Microsoft Teams channel. I think it should be distributed already, that you are now aware of, okay, what kind of key tags can I search and how do I find the machine easier now. It makes sense. It's around, I don't know, 800, 900 key tags probably currently. And what happens, it will grow by time when you get or give the feedback to your key users what should be what should be connected to which machine, for example, SolidWood or edge banding or Sawtech or panel dividing or so or whatever. So give it time to grow, but the foundation now is built to have a pretty cool key tag key tag search for that. All right. So what we will see here now in the next second is how to say the combination of the old save file versus the new save file in terms of the speed of how fast you can load a concept. So this is pretty cool. It will also be an added value when we talk about iVP, the iVP viewer, because now we are able to shift planning files to different environments, especially for the CGI renderings. Many of you seen that already in real time, how it looks like. That is one of the key benefits, and a side effect is for all of you who work with these large scale concepts, it is pretty fast now, pretty damn fast to load these large scale concepts. This video should show it to you quickly. All right, but this is more or less what we have in our new release, what is worth to explain in a video probably. I would kindly ask you to search for the changelog. What are other things that we changed? Of course, we fixed some small bugs. We made some performance enhancements. And one more thing, what is at the top right, we have these preset layouts. The future, I think the next release probably, we will be able to save your default or your layouts that you wanted to have by saying, okay, this is my favorite layout. I want to have the settings panel in there and stuff like that. This can all be saved then in the future. All right, till then, I wish you happy planning. All the best with using iVP. If you have any questions or any other recommendations or issues, please feel free to get in touch with us. We are looking for this feedback because we need it to keep on improving and developing the software. So far, thank you from Berlin and all the best to all of you.